Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is my first, I guess, real chance where I can like sit down and film without any restrictions. I have recorded this video 5 different times now because the first few times I was struggling with time restraints. My camera only had so much memory on it, so then I resorted to using my partner's camera, and it didn't have a lot of memory on it, didn't have a lot of space on it, and I caved and just got a new SD card. So now I can record without too much time restrictions. Welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to briefly, I guess, like discuss some of the things that have been happening. I tried to do this in my last video, but I had a lot of, I guess, trouble trying to phrase like what was happening. So I'm gonna try again. It's my 5th time trying it. Okay, so I guess like from the beginning, let's talk about where I've been for the past few months. 4-ish months ago, before I posted that like quick check-in video, I actually don't even know if I posted it. I think I did post it. It was so brief, and I said today I was gonna go over pretty much everything that's been happening. So I was living in my, so I've moved since then. I am now in a new apartment with my partner. We share this space together, and living in the old apartment I was in, it wasn't very good. The biggest issue I had with it was the lack of communication and kind of respect I got from the office staff. Every time I would try to contact them, no one would ever get back to me, and it was just a mess. And there would be a few times where I would put in work orders, and I would specifically ask to have the maintenance or somebody let me know when they're going to be coming into my home, and they didn't respect that. There was one time I was using the restroom, and you know, I live alone, home alone. I use the restroom with the door open. One of the maintenance men came, and he like knocked on my door, and my restroom is like closer to the back of the apartment. So he knocks on my door and he yells out maintenance, and it scared me. At first I was like, oh my god, like, and then he immediately just started opening the door, and I was like, oh my god. So I like quickly was trying to put my pants back on, clean myself up and put my pants back on, and go to the door. But when I got to the door, he was gone, because I had the top lock, the deadbolt lock, I think that's what it's called. The top one was locked, so he couldn't actually get into my apartment. So that's I guess one of the reasons I like to be I like to know when maintenance is coming into my home. At least like give me a day, a time frame would be great, but you know, just give me like the day that they're gonna come in. I had no idea that he was coming that day. That's the first time something like that happened. I've had other occasions where they have actually, like, I've come home and things have been like moved around and kind of messed with. You know, I have reasons why I like to be I like to know when maintenance is coming into my home. They never respected that. They would just come in anyway. And in terms of communication with the office, it's just every time I would ask them questions or ask them like to speak with them, they would never get back to me. It's like one of those things where once you're in, it's fine, but getting in is a hassle. It is very difficult to actually get settled into the unit. Once you're in, it's okay. Once I was in, the biggest issue was if I did have an issue with something, or if I had questions about something, impossible to get a hold of the office. And whenever I would actually go to the office, whoever was there just usually wasn't able to help me, or I just couldn't actually go because the office hours are, sometimes they would be outside of my availability, you know, working. I was working, when I first moved out here at the time, I was working as a server and a hostess and at a coffee shop, so I had a lot of work. So my time frames, you know, blah 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 blah. So getting out of it was even worse. So every time it came time for my lease to renew, I would ask them several months in advance what is the renewal gonna look like how much is it gonna be, what do you need for me to renew, or you know, so that I can have time so I can look at other options if need be, if I can afford it or not. 2 weeks before my lease had to be renewed is when they would actually let me know, hey, so it's time to renew your lease. This is how much it's gonna be if you don't renew. Don't forget you need to give us a 60-day notice before you leave. Great. I was never given that opportunity, like fairly. And it just got really frustrating on my end because the price kept going up and up and up. I know living in Austin, it is expensive, especially when you live alone and you're doing it by yourself. It's a lot of money. Living in the city had only been getting more and more expensive. There was even one time when it came time to, I lived here for 3 years, like in that apartment. There was one of those times where I asked to renew the lease and they didn't give me the information I needed till it was already after the time that I needed to renew my lease. And me trying to communicate with them about what is that all about, they just didn't answer me. So towards the end of all of it, it came time for me to actually move out, and I decided I'm not staying here. And it was like I was on my last straw with them, with the office, and I do my part always. I feel like I'm very responsible when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I keep record of everything. So I have everything on my end, and it got to a point where I had to get legal matters, like legal advice, because they were trying to charge me thousands of dollars for trying to move out, when on their end they were not giving me any proper notices, and they were refusing to give me my deposit back. Apparently the system that they used had this thing where if you use this website called Deposit IQ, you don't get your deposit back. That's just putting a hold on the unit, which I was not informed of when I first moved in. I was told, you know, you can get your deposit back. So it's just a whole mess to get out. And I'm done living here. I'm done with all of your boo-boo. On my last couple of weeks there, they bumped my rent up $280, 200 and something dollars. It's just a lot. It was a lot of money, and I couldn't afford it. One, because I'm not willing to work to live in a place, like work so hard to live in a place that doesn't seem to respect my boundaries and respect me enough to keep proper communication with me. It's really unprofessional. Didn't like it, wasn't happy, so left. Originally, I was supposed to move to Orlando with my partner, and circumstances just called for us to get an apartment out here in Austin. So we are still living here in Austin. Just quickly gonna put a video right here. He's an incredible musician and visual artist. Here's something of his clips. If anyone's curious about any of his work that he's done, I will leave his Instagram and his YouTube channel down below. Feel free to follow and like have all that fun stuff. He's very, very talented and very well versed in what he does. So anyway, so we got a place out here in Austin, and we were both very optimistic. This is our new home, and we're gonna like have our little family meet, like our kitties come together, and yeah, exciting stuff, right? It's still very exciting, but coming into the unit was not exciting. Right off the bat, this complex that we found affordable, and time, it seemed like there was good communication between the office and us, but there was not. It was horrific. So I came into this unit by myself for the first 2 months. I lived here alone before his lease was up in Orlando and he was able to come down here. I had to handle a lot of this stuff on my own. And boy, it has been quite the journey, and it is still the journey, let me tell you. Coming into this apartment, the first 2 women that were running the office, they were fine. They seemed well at communicating and, you know, keeping up with us and like our questions and stuff. They were very quick to like get our deposit and get our money, but it's like once we got here, it was kind of sour. So we both came into the unit together. We just got the keys. We come over here and there's dirt pile in the living room. The floor is disgusting. Thick black layers of dust on our fans in the bedroom and the living room. We didn't have an oven. There was mold in the fridge and the freezer. There was molding food still in the fridge. There was painter's tape in the restroom with a broken rod for the shower. The light was broken. Our patio had a bunch of crap on it. Our screen door was broken. Like, a lot of things were just broken, and the place was just an absolute disaster. Immediately, I start taking photos, and Lou is just like, you know, exploring around the apartment, you know, seeing exactly what's up. And this apartment is a biohazard. I do my part, I take my photos, I do my thing, and I go to the office and I'm like, hey, this unit is not okay. This unit is disgusting. I need you to tell me what we can do right now. Well, the first thing she's like, okay, did I give you the form, the apartment condition form? I said yes. She's like, okay, just write everything on there. And I was like, oh, okay. So I do that, and because I asked her, I was like, I need to know if you can do something for us, because this is not okay. Like, the conditions of this unit are not okay. She said, well, if you want, I can push your move-in date. And I said, no, because I already gave the keys to my old apartment. That same day, we had to start bringing things into this unit. So we cleaned up a little bit. It took them, I think, 1 or 2 days to get cleaning crew here in the apartment. So we had everything just shoved into the bedroom. The bedroom seemed to be the only place that had been cleaned. It really just looked like it had been vacuumed. So we had everything shoved into the bedroom. It took 1 or 2 days for cleaning crew to come in, and they came in and, you know, they cleaned. It took 3 days for them to come and like bring us an oven. So we were, I have an old, like, I have a camping thing, so we were using that to heat up food. Yeah, humble beginnings for sure. I'm still very grateful that we had this space, but I feel like what we pay for this, we should have something that's livable. So after 4 days, Lou had to go back to Orlando. So I was here by myself, and we talk every day on the phone, and I started getting sick within about 10 days of being here. And there was one day I called Lou after work, like I usually do, and he was very upset to hear me sick. Now, I know I was getting sick, but I wasn't mentally ready to confront it, because I'm also still processing and confronting everything else that's been happening in this unit. Constantly trying to keep communication going with the office, because the communication with this complex completely dropped. I mean, literally, I'd go in and no one was at the office during working hours. No one. The doors would be locked and it would say it'd be closed for days. And no one would answer my emails, no one would answer my calls. It's like they took the money and ran, literally went MIA. And maintenance just stopped coming all around, and there was a lot of things wrong. And then, like, whenever Lou mentioned, you're sick, you need to do something, and I told him, like, I just have this been so much, like, I don't have the mental capacity. But it pushed me to go to the office and like continue to bug them, and like, I need y'all to do something. Lou brought up the suspicions of mold in the air duct because of the condition of the unit whenever we moved in. It took them, so when this came around, it's just been such a mess. It's been such a mess. So I finally get a hold of the people that are in, the two ladies in the office, and this whole time I'd only been talking to one of them. Okay, so through email, I email them and I'm like, hey, I need someone to come look in the air ducts. I think there was a health concern. And like on top of that, I mentioned everything else with the unit that still needs to be fixed. It took me saying there's a health concern for someone to answer me. I've been sick for a while at this point, and weeks had gone by without me hearing from anybody. And I finally get an email back. Apparently it's the property manager, and she says, hey, okay, let's set up an appointment so that I can go look in your unit. And I was like, okay, yeah, okay, we're getting some momentum again, let's do this. She comes, she looks at the unit, she takes photographs, and I tell her everything that's wrong still. And she's like, okay, like we're gonna put in some work orders and like we'll get you fixed up. And I'm like, okay, finally something's happening. I don't hear anything for like a week. Nobody's in the office. Nobody's answering my calls. Nobody's answering my emails. Completely MIA again. Wow, there's a new lady in the office. This woman seemed like she was like, I'm gonna get it done, I'm gonna do it. And she was initially, when I started bringing up issues, she was like, okay, I'll put in work orders. But the biggest thing was I told her I need someone to come look in my air ducts. I suspect mold. And it took a bit of pushing, but eventually we set up an appointment. I went to the office and I was like, hi, my name is Nisa, I live in this unit. And she was like, oh yes, I remember you, let's go look in your unit. So I bring her over. I try to explain to her how the condition of the unit when we first stepped foot in here. She didn't seem to care. She was more just like, okay, whatever, like tell me what's wrong right now. And I was like, okay, well, the biggest thing right now is I need someone to look in the air ducts. I suspect there's mold. I think there's a health concern. She was very adamant about there being a health concern. I tried to explain to her why I suspect this, and she didn't seem to care. I mentioned her 3 things that were wrong, and after the 3rd thing, she was like, okay, I got what I need, bye. And I was like, wait, there's more. I had to tell her to stop. Like, I had to stop her from leaving my unit 5 times because she kept trying to leave after I told her there was something wrong. And when I mentioned to her, as she was walking out, she was like, okay, well, is there anything else? And I said, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I'd like done right now is I need someone to look in the air ducts. I really feel like there's a health concern. I don't usually get sick, and I've been sick since I lived here. She said, well, I don't think there's a health concern. And she stood on her tippy toes to look for herself in the air ducts. And she's like, what do you want me to do? Climb in there and check? And I was like, I need someone to go in there and look. I think there's a health concern. And she's like, well, I don't think so. And then she walks out my door, and as she's walking out my door, she has the audacity to say, it smells in here, but I don't think there is a health concern. And then she walks away. This left me in tears. I had never been so disrespected in my home like that by the front office. I was very upset. I called Blue crying, and I emailed the owners of the property, like people that own the whole complex. And I didn't get an email back, but I let them know about my experience, the condition of my unit since living here, and all of it. I didn't get a response. Didn't hear anything again from the office for a while. Right now, there's another woman there. She has been very helpful in getting things done. I did end up getting someone to look in the air ducts. There was mold, and a lot of it. After they cleaned it and sanitized it, it took like a couple of weeks. Started to like feel better, like breathing was easier. My AC started working a bit better, and you know, we're just starting to get things like the major things fixed, which is great. Now it's a bunch of small things still that need to be fixed. And on top of, you know, all of this with the issues with the office versus me and, you know, the unit and everything that's been happening, we have experienced 3 floods in the past 4 months. 2 of them were back to back. It has been very stressful and a lot happening. And on top of, you know, everything with the apartment and moving to, you know, going to Orlando, getting Lou over here, my things, getting things settled here, I work at a dance studio Monday through Friday in the evenings, and I also do plant care at the coffee shop I work at, and I work there at the coffee shop sometimes, and then I have my own little hobbies that I try to maintain that have been difficult because I've been in survival mode since moving into this unit. This new woman in the office is great. She's actually getting things done. She's been sick, so she hasn't been here all week. So things are kind of on hold. I told her everything from the beginning to now, how my experience has been living here. And she seems compassionate. She said she seemed very concerned, like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe you've been going through all of this. I asked her, I need to know if there's anything you can do for me in terms of like a discount on rent or getting us into another unit, or like what can you do for us? And she said, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have the power to do discounts or really much, but if you have all the information on your end, email it to me and I will send it to my bosses. So I did that, and now we're just in this waiting period of what's happening, like if they're able to do anything for us. So everything's just kind of been a waiting game at this point, and since things have simmered down, I am using Lou's laptop right now to edit the videos, which is great because this is a great way for me to zone out for a second. It's been so stressful, everyone. Like, it's been a lot to handle, and I'm just glad that I have my little corner of the internet to do these kinds of videos and talk a little bit. All right, everyone, if any of you have experienced something like this, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to know I'm not the only one. And if you haven't experienced anything like this and you have any motivational words or tips or anything, please let me know, because I love hearing from you guys and I love the comments. It's really, really cool, and it is a highlight in my day. Really, truly a highlight in my day, because it's been a lot happening. All right, guys, so that's the story of what's been happening for the past 4-5 months. It's been a lot, but I'm so glad that I get to share this experience with all of you. Cheers, I have a matcha. All right, everybody, I will catch you next time. I have some really, really fun ideas for coming October. I'm gonna start filming those next week, and stay tuned for that. If anyone's curious about any of the music that Lou makes or wants to see any of his visual thingies, I will leave links to his Instagram and his YouTube down below. Give him a follow, give him a like, do the things. I will also leave down below my Instagram and all of my handles, and I don't think I've mentioned this before on my channel. Maybe I have one other time, but there's also a discount code if anyone's interested. For hair and pants, you get 10% off your order if you use the code MisaAnn. I will leave that in the description below, and I also have a discount code for yoga attire, discount codes, fun affiliate links, all of that stuff. They help me out a lot. If anyone wants to help out and also get yourself something nice at a little discount, everything is down below. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me in my little corner of the internet. Also, if anyone would like a plant video on what exactly I do as plant care, that would be fun. That'd be a fun little video. It's a newish journey for me. Yeah. All right, everyone, have a good one. I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.